going to be a short video just looking at a vintage Mora from about 20 years ago. I think a lot of you guys who like older style equipment would appreciate this knife. Even though at the time this was manufactured, this would not have necessarily been, you know, a high-end knife. It's still very nice, and it's one of my favorite knives. It just has a lot of character and sort of patina to it that I really like. Okay, again, here's a slightly more modern Mora knife. This one's a Robusta. Give you a rundown of the knife. The steel. Alright, so we have a classic Nordic style blade, we have a Scandinavian grind, and we have quite a large ricasso here, and on the stamp it says Frosts Mora, made in Sweden, laminated steel. One of the things you've got to understand when we look at vintage knives, we don't have a lot of information often about the steels used and the materials used, because, you know, the history, a lot of it's been lost, right? Modern knives, not a problem. Falk even F1, we know, you know, it's VG10, we know the handle material. Things like this, it's a little bit of guesswork. But as far as I can tell, it's HRC 61. That would be the steel used, okay? This is obviously brass butt and brass bolster, okay? And we have a wooden handle, right? It's not birch, for sure, it's too heavy. I've made knives with birch handles. I've got knife with birch handles. It's not beech, again, too heavy. The grain pattern's wrong. I think it's a pine, to be honest. This was a budget knife. It wasn't particularly high end. My guess would be pine. I could be wrong, of course, for sure. But that would be a fairly educated kind of stab at the dark. Do you know what I mean? So there we go. And then we've got, obviously, it's a full rat-tailed design. We've got the tang coming out here, and it's peened back, all right, and we can see the individual hammers marks, right? So there's a lot of handmade finishing in this knife, all right, and we've got a brass washer there, all right. The shape of the handle, it sort of reminds me a little bit of barrel knives, all right, which is kind of part of the Nordic knife tradition as well, all right. It has that sort of barrel shape, all right, although it is a fixed blade knife, right, it's not a barrel knife. The sheath itself is a leather sheath, a real sort of simple, classic Scandinavian pouch style sheath. We have the stitching in the back. We have a little hole here for a drain hole. All right. This might be lined. It seems a little bit hard. There may be a lining in here that might be a vulcanized fibre. I'm not entirely sure. We'd have to tear it apart to find in. So the knife goes in. It's a little bit too tight. All right. It's a little bit too much work to get it out. And again, just to explain this thing here, and you'll find something similar to this on more modern Mora knives, okay? This is to go on a button on your pants or your braces, okay? That's a little bit of a quirky Swedish thing. So most Mora knives will have something like this, even the ones that are made from plastic, all right? So a really nice knife for crafts, really nice knife for woodworking. You can combine this with a Sloyd type knife for carving, do you know what I mean? And just like a really nice addition to the kit, you know what I mean? And the best thing about this knife is it was free.